Welcome to Vanguard 12 Minutes. Today, we're diving into the 30 important promises made by Kamala Harris for the presidency. United States, from healthcare and climate action to education and justice reform, these commitments could shape the future of America. Let's explore what each promise means for the country and its people. Harris committed to advancing peace and stability through diplomatic efforts and multilateral partnerships. Her approach emphasizes the importance of collaboration with allies to address global challenges and promote human rights. Harris promised to support the arts and cultural initiatives, recognizing their importance in education and community building. She aims to increase funding for arts programs and promote access to cultural resources for all communities. Harris pledged to improve disaster relief efforts and invest in climate resilience to prepare communities for the impacts of climate change. Her plan includes enhancing emergency response systems and infrastructure. Harris committed to ending the controversial practice of family separation for immigrants at the U.S. border. She believes in a humane immigration policy that keeps families together and treats individuals with dignity. Harris promised to protect and expand Medicare and Medicaid, ensuring that vulnerable populations continue to receive essential healthcare services. Her plan includes addressing disparities in healthcare access and outcomes. Harris expressed her opposition to the death penalty and pledged to work towards its abolition. She believes that capital punishment is flawed and disproportionately affects marginalized communities. Harris vowed to improve services for veterans, focusing on mental health support, job training, and ensuring timely access to healthcare. Her commitment seeks to honor the sacrifices of veterans and provide them with the resources they deserve. Harris committed to investing in modernizing America's infrastructure, including roads, bridges, and public transportation systems. This investment aims to create jobs and ensure that infrastructure meets the needs of 21st century America. Harris advocated for comprehensive paid family leave policies, allowing workers to take time off to care for family members without financial hardship. This initiative aims to promote work-life balance and support families during critical times. Harris promised to make quality childcare affordable and accessible for all families. Her plan includes increasing funding for childcare programs and providing tax credits to support working parents. Harris pledged to restore America's role as a global leader by promoting diplomacy and international cooperation. Her foreign policy priorities include addressing global challenges such as climate change and human rights violations. Harris committed to advancing LGBTQ+ rights and protections, including fighting against discrimination and supporting policies that promote equality. She aims to ensure that all Americans can live openly and freely without fear of persecution. Harris promised to tackle the opioid crisis through prevention, treatment, and recovery initiatives. Her approach includes increasing funding for addiction services and ensuring that people have access to the necessary resources to combat substance abuse. Beyond just pathways to citizenship, Harris aims to create a humane immigration system that protects the rights of immigrants and provides support for refugee resettlement. She emphasizes the need for an approach that values family unity and humanitarian principles. Harris pledged to address the unique challenges faced by rural communities, including access to healthcare, education, and economic opportunities. Her plan focuses on infrastructure development and investing in rural broadband to improve connectivity. Harris vowed to invest in public education and support teachers. Her education policy includes increasing funding for K-12 schools, making preschool accessible, and reducing class sizes to enhance learning opportunities for all students. Harris committed to strengthening and expanding Social Security benefits for seniors. Her plan includes ensuring the solvency of the program and protecting it from cuts, emphasizing the importance of retirement security for American families. Harris promised to provide resources and support for small businesses, especially those owned by women and people of color. This includes access to capital, technical assistance, and initiatives to promote entrepreneurship in underserved communities. Beyond universal healthcare, Harris emphasized expanding access to mental health services and addiction treatment. She proposed comprehensive mental health coverage, addressing the stigma around mental illness and ensuring support for those in need. Harris pledged to address the housing crisis by increasing the availability of affordable housing and combating homelessness. This involves supporting housing investments, enforcing anti-discrimination laws, and providing rental assistance for low-income families. In response to the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, Harris promised to implement a robust economic recovery plan focused on job creation. Her strategy includes investing in infrastructure, clean energy, and small businesses to stimulate growth and rebuild the economy. Harris committed to fighting for the restoration of voting rights and enhancing access to the ballot box. This includes supporting the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act to combat voter suppression and ensure fair elections. Harris vowed to protect women's rights, including access to reproductive health care and equal pay for equal work. She pledged to support legislation to combat gender-based violence and improve women's representation in leadership positions. Harris promised to implement policies aimed at advancing racial equity in all areas, including housing, education, and employment. She aimed to address systemic racism and promote equal opportunities for communities of color. Harris pledged to create a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants, especially those brought to the U.S. as children, dreamers. Her immigration plan includes ending family separation policies and addressing the root causes of migration from Central America. Harris has consistently supported comprehensive gun control legislation, including universal background checks, a ban on assault weapons, and a buyback program for military-style firearms. She emphasized the need for measures to curb gun violence and enhance public safety. Harris aimed to reform the criminal justice system by eliminating cash bail, ending mandatory minimum sentences for nonviolent offenses, and promoting community policing. Her commitment seeks to reduce mass incarceration and address systemic racism within the justice system. Harris promised aggressive action on climate change, committing to rejoin the Paris Agreement and implement a Green New Deal. This plan focuses on reducing carbon emissions, transitioning to renewable energy, and creating millions of green jobs to address the climate crisis and promote environmental justice. Harris pledged to address the student debt crisis by advocating for the cancellation of student loan debt for millions of borrowers. She proposed forgiving up to $20,000 for Pell Grant recipients and working towards making public colleges and universities tuition-free, aiming to relieve financial pressure on young Americans. Kamala Harris promised to implement a Medicare for all system, ensuring that every American has access to affordable health care. This plan includes coverage for all medical services, including preventive care, mental health services, and long-term care, aiming to reduce the financial burden of medical expenses on families. Thank you for joining us on Vanguard 12 Minutes. From healthcare reform to climate action and justice reform, Kamala Harris's promises reflect a vision for an inclusive, progressive future. United States, these commitments highlight key areas that could bring positive change to millions of Americans. Whether you support these ideas or want to stay informed, it's clear that these promises could impact the direction of the country. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content that brings you closer to the policies and people shaping our world.